What we do here is go back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, DJ Hamilton, here of the DJ Sports Show here on WRCR 1700 AM radio. We have a great one here for you guys today, as I'm going to be talking NFC and AFC Conference Championships with my guy, Dylan Bruton from Atlanta. For some reason, I was trying to play music, but it wasn't working, but sorry about that, technical difficulty. We have Will back with us today. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing all right, and yourself?
Hey, doing good. Sorry about last time, guys. We had difficulties getting to the station. I was locked out, so I couldn't get in on time.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, that was a day 2 weeks ago. It was cold outside.
So I heard, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, but I'm back. So we're back on track, and we're doing a thing. We're doing a show.
Oh yeah. But we got a great one here for you guys today. We got the NFL Conference Championships tomorrow between the 1 and 3 seeds between the Niners and Lions. And we got the Baltimore Ravens with Kansas City Chiefs. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce someone who I've known since the Atlanta Black Sports Symposium back in last year in April, who I had the honor to meet. And he's an associate editor for ClutchPoints.com, where he writes about college football, the NFL, and NBA. My guy, Dylan Bruton. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing great, DJ. Once again, it's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate, being able to further connect and collaborate, because it's always a great conversation. It's always great, to be able to talk sports with you, my man.
Oh, yeah, always, man. Hey, I was trying to play the music before, but I don't know what happened. I was like, hey, I know you love music, too.
I do. But, we talked to sports today, so it's all good, man. I'm just glad to be here, because I know last time we tried to do this, like a man was saying earlier, the technical difficulties. But he's here, he's back, so, getting it all back on track.
Okay. Yeah. So, Dylan, we got a great one here this weekend. We got 2 great games actually coming on. So we have the Kansas City Chiefs and Baltimore Ravens. Let's talk about the AFC first. What are some of your notes you took for this game coming up?
Well, so last week was a big victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. They won a very divisive matchup, 27-24 against a talented Buffalo Bills team. Their defense was able to, for the most part, neutralize any possible, big attempts through the air by the Buffalo Bills. Now, granted, also the Buffalo Bills shot themselves in the foot, bad drop by Stephon Diggs, 8 minutes and 23 seconds left in the fourth quarter. But overall, they were able to, really make them play a conservative game, which is not their game style. And then on the other side, Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce, how many times have we heard of that, combination working? They were able to get 2 passing touchdowns, which, broke Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski's quarterback to tight end touchdown record. So, once again, Pat just showed, who he is in big-time moments. You've got Pat Mahomes as your quarterback, you've got a chance. You know what I'm saying? There's not many quarterbacks that we can kind of say that for, but he has shown throughout his time since he took over as a starter. Now this is his 6th straight AFC championship, and he's aiming for his 3rd Super Bowl victory in 4 attempts, and hopes to become the first back-to-back winner since Tom Brady on the Patriots in 2003, 2004. It's like we've seen the result time after time. He's 3-0 against Josh Allen. That's not even a rivalry. I mean, I'm sorry. If you don't get one victory, it's not a rivalry. That's just the beatdown.
Yeah. So definitely.
they show that they have a team that, even though this team this year is not as talented as last year's or probably any other iteration of the Pat Mahomes era, they showed that they could still make plays when it counts. And I do want to add, too, Isaiah Pacheco has had an amazing playoff so far. He's ran very hard against, 2 talented defenses in the Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. And he's been a great complement to the passing game of Pat Mahomes, because we know he's going to throw the ball to, Travis Kelce or Rashee Rice. He's had an amazing rookie year, and he's also just stepped up tremendously as their number 1 guy receiver. But you got Pacheco in the backfield. He runs very hard, and he's able to add another element to that team.
People were making fun of his running style on social media. don't know if you peeped that. Yeah, I was
I saw,
wow.
but it's like, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, like they're winning. The guy won the Super Bowl last year.
Right, he's running for touchdowns, and we're commenting from our couches. So it's like, we got to put things into perspective. You know?
Yeah.
Now, you and I, we're talking sports on a platform, so it's a little different. Like, we have a little bit more, a little bit more of an edge. But for most people, it's like, it's not easy to be a running back in the NFL. They have the shortest of shelf lives possible of any position that plays football. So for him to find effectiveness in the style in which he runs, that's a testament to his talent and the work that he's put in to get to that point.
Yeah, so you're right. So the Chiefs, honestly, they become the first team, if they repeat, since the Patriots in 04 and 05 in the Brady Belichick era to repeat. That's the only team to ever repeat during this century. And this is the 6th consecutive AFC title game as for Mahomes and the Chiefs since he became a starter in 6 years ago. Was it 5 years ago or 6 years ago? I think 2018, 2019. Yeah, 5 years ago, man. 6 for 6. You know how amazing that sounds?
No, it's crazy.
And they're 3-2 in the AFC title game. They only lost twice, and so they lost in 2019, his first year when he won MVP against Brady in New England. That Chris Jones offside penalty, man. I was like, why Chris Jones? Why? And then in 2022, when they lost to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, that was last season, they had Tyreek Hill. Those were the only 2 times they lost. But other than that, in the first 5 years they made the AFC title game, they have 3 Super Bowl appearances. He has 2 Super Bowl championships and 2 Super Bowl MVPs. That is some type of resume right there.
Oh, his resume for at this stage of his career, and he just turned 28, I believe, earlier this year. I mean, there's little left that he has to prove or check off. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm not one of those people that says he's the GOAT quarterback. Like, if he retires today. But if he retires today, his resume is better than a lot of quarterbacks in history. So that's, all credit to him. And again, his talent and the work he's put in to get to the point he's at. And at this point, you can't, deny the impact in which he's had because, as you mentioned, 6 straight AFC championships, 2 Super Bowls, but potentially going for a 3rd this year and, 2 MVPs. I mean, pretty much every box that you want to check off for a great legendary quarterback, Pat Mahomes has accomplished. So it's amazing to see, but I don't know, man. Those Baltimore Ravens this year, they're special.
And the Chiefs, so they're going to be without one of their all-pro offensive linemen. When Joe Thuney, he suffered a pectoral strain that he suffered during the Bills game, the divisional round, that's going to hurt their offensive line a little bit. And then you have Isaiah Pacheco, the running back. He's dealing with an ankle-toe injury. He'll probably still be playing this game. Yeah, he's expected to play, but he's going to be hampered. You have L'Jarius Sneed, their cornerback, who is dealing with a calf injury. Rashee Rice, like you mentioned earlier, he's dealing with a hamstring injury right now. And then you have Marquise Valdes-Scantling dealing with an oblique injury. But at this point in the season, everybody's banged up. The Ravens also dealing with their injuries. Mark Andrews, their all-pro tight end, one of the best tight ends in the league. He just came off the IR list with an ankle injury. You have Marlon Humphrey, who's a cornerback, who's dealing with a calf injury. He's questionable for the game. Wide receiver Tylen Wallace with a knee injury. He's questionable, and a host of other guys. But overall, one thing I'm really liking about the Chiefs this season is they have increased their scoring production from the regular season to the postseason. They had averaged 21.8 points per game in the regular season and 26.5 in the postseason. They're 2nd in rush yards per game, and they're also the 1st in sacks allowed and turnovers allowed. So they've been doing a good job taking care of the football and protecting Patrick Mahomes so he can make smart decisions and reads.
Absolutely. Efficient football is what's going to win you those games in January and trying to get to the big game in February, the Super Bowl. If you don't play efficient football on both ends, offensively, taking care of the ball, keeping your quarterback upright, creating, rushing lanes for your running back, and then on the defensive side, not making dumb penalties that, allow easy first downs, not allowing a lot of scoring opportunities, preventing big play opportunities. If you are able to play effectively on both ends and efficiently, that's a winning ingredient. And I think the thing that, like you said, you just mentioned, the fact that they have stepped up on both ends. Offensively, they're scoring more than they did in the regular season, and that was something that people were very concerned about because they were not looking like the Kansas City Chiefs that we know. It was very much like, who is this bizarro team, and what have you done with the actual Kansas City Chiefs? This is like, wait, this is a team that won a Super Bowl against a very talented Philadelphia Eagles? No way. And then on defense, they've been able to, they played some talented offenses back-to-back weeks, and they've been able to play well. I mean, yes, Josh Allen got 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground, so playing against a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, who is the best dual-threat quarterback in the league, it should not be up for debate. That is going to be something that they are going to have to make sure their defense is prepped and primed for. But, I'm sorry, whatever the media is trying to spin and twist as a narrative, Josh Allen did not light up the world passing the ball.
Yeah.
Just because he didn't throw any picks. I know it. It's rare, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, like, who would ever thought? You know what I'm saying? Like, is a game where he doesn't finish with an interception. It's rare. It's rare, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's as rare and wild as the Detroit Lions making the NFC Championship.
Hey,
so,
some people like you compared him to a bigger, stronger Brett Favre.
Yeah, he's got a lot of, Josh Allen's a gunslinger. He's got a lot of Favre, Roethlisberger.
He got a lot of flair to his game.
I've heard people say he's like a white Cam Newton, and I can see that.
I can see that a little bit too.
And with gunslinger quarterbacks, they're fun to watch. Many of us, that's how we play on Madden. Like, all right, he's open. Oh, go for the first down. And that's great football, but you have to make efficient plays, and when it counts, that's when you're expected and relied upon the most to make those smart decisions. And Josh Allen has just not yet shown that ability. I'm sorry. That's not to be mean or to say he's not a talented quarterback, but to be in that category with Pat or that conversation that people are so desperately trying to put him in, you need to win when it counts, and you need to step up when it counts. And he just hasn't shown that, and that's the difference between the two players.
So, yeah, definitely with Josh Allen. But a team that has been winning those Baltimore Ravens. So they had the best record in the NFL this season, 13-4 behind the electrifying quarterback Lamar Jackson, who is, in many people's eyes, probably considered the favorite to win the MVP. He threw for 3,678 passing yards this season, 24 touchdowns, and had the 4th best QBR in the league at 64.7. The Ravens not only have a top-notch offense in the league, they're second in NFL in points per game. They were 4th in yards per play, 5th in touchdowns per game, and 3rd in rushing touchdowns per game. And they do a great job of taking care of the ball. Just 1.7 turnovers per game, which was 3rd best in the NFL. They also possess a terrifying run defense. You have nose tackle Michael Pierce, Justin Madubuike, you have Broderick Washington. Their run defense is elite, man. I'm worried about their pass defense. It's not really as good as their run defense, but their run defense. But with the Chiefs not having elite wide receivers, no deep route receivers who are really going to terrify you in the open field. And in my eyes, the Ravens, I'm feeling good about my chances. You don't have no Tyreek Hill you have to deal with, or Justin Jefferson, or Jamar Chase. They don't have that this year on the Chiefs. So if you're able to stop the run and contain Kelsey, because Kelsey, he has not looked like himself lately. He has not looked like the Kelsey in his prime. And they don't really have anybody else. I know Rashee Rice is good, but he's still a rookie. He's never been in these big moments. He's still inexperienced. And the other guys, they're like average at best. And well, I know they've been better in the playoffs, but I'm still going against this Ravens defense. This is a different level. They're a level above the Bills, and they're levels above the Dolphins. So that's what I want to see. That's what I'm curious about seeing. Because this Ravens defense, they were 1st in opponent rushing touchdowns allowed per game, 2nd in rush percentage allowed, 4th in sack percentage, 1st in opponent passing yards per pass allowed. They also were 5th in opponent pass yards per game, and I know this is what they struggled. Pass play percentage, they were 31st in the league. That's why I said passing-wise, defending the pass, they kind of struggle, but run defense, they're amongst the top 5 in the NFL.
I would say, though their secondary is not, what it was, in the Ed Reed days, but I still feel like their secondary is talented. They make big plays. Kyle Hamilton has been one of the best safeties in the NFL this year. Geno Stone has been an interception machine. Brandon Stevens has done a great job filling in for Marlon Humphrey. You got Marcus Williams, who, even though as a Saints fan, I don't want to give him credit, but I will give him his credit. I'll give him his credit. He's a very talented safety as well. So it's like, I think when fully healthy, they actually do have one of the better secondaries in the entire NFL, in my personal opinion. because they very much have that next man up kind of mentality. But yes, the run defense is crazy. You can't forget Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen, on both sides with the linebacker position. And then you can't forget about Jadeveon Clowney, who, not only had a great year pass rushing, but since he's been to the league, his best attribute and skill has been his run defense as an edge setter. And I think the thing with the Ravens is that they have a defense that is good enough to win them games by themselves. But then they just also happen to have an amazing offense. And, Lamar has played at an MVP level all year, and, he's hoping to win his second MVP. And honestly, even though his first MVP season was more exciting, as far as the highlight plays he was getting off and whatnot, I think this is a better version of Lamar.
More mature. He's been through adversity. He's been through injuries, all that. Definitely.
Yeah, and this is everything as far as all cylinders. When a team has got momentum, it plays such a huge impact to getting you to that Super Bowl victory level. And I believe that this is the year for the Baltimore Ravens. This has to be. You know what I'm saying? They've got too much at stake. I mean, I know John Harbaugh's trying to have some bragging rights at the Harbaugh Thanksgiving dinner because his brother Jim just won a college football championship. And I'm sure he's like, wait a minute now. I beat you in my Super Bowl when we played. So I need to get a Super Bowl. I need to get a Super Bowl for myself this year. So, Papa Harbaugh is like, well, what'd you do this year, son?
Yeah. Yep. So so we got to quickly get to the NFC as well. So make your picks for the AFC game. Who you got, Chiefs or Ravens?
Okay, so I'm picking the Ravens, and I also want the Ravens to win. It's no secret. I do think Pat Mahomes is very talented, and I like him, but Lamar's my guy. That's my favorite player in the NFL that doesn't play for a team I support, and someone who I think, has not gotten the credit he deserves. And I mean, the elephant in the room is because he's a black quarterback. So I'm very proud of him just in watching his continued involvement as a player, but seeing what he does in the community and seeing the kind of influence he is to the youth. I think he's exactly the kind of superstar the NFL needs to show more love, because he's been that guy since he was at Louisville. We just got to say it.
That's true. So for me, this is tough. My keys to the game, man. So for the Chiefs, you gotta use. I know you don't have the receivers, but you're gonna have to try to do that spread offense against that Ravens defense. They're not very strong in defending the pass. You gotta get Kelsey going early. You gotta get him warmed up. You gotta get him pumping.
For sure.
Got him amped up, because if he gets going, you have a good chance of winning. And then you gotta make it tough on the Ravens offense. Pressure Lamar. Make him throw the ball. Don't let him get running the football, because I know Josh Allen, he does it with the power, his girth. Lamar does it in a different way, with his elusiveness, his speed, his swiftiness. He's not going to overpower you like a Josh Allen, but he is still more dynamic than Josh Allen due to his speed, his agility, just all that. And then for the Ravens, keys to the game, utilize the run. Chiefs are not good at defending the run. They're better at defending the pass than they are the run. And run some short routes, get Andrews in a rhythm. I want to see how Mark Andrews looks. He's been out for a while. He's just got off the IR list. I want to know how he's going to look against competition at this level, these type of stakes, after being off for God knows how long. I forgot how long he was injured, but he's off the IR list with his ankle injury. He's been out for a while. And now coming back in the AFC Championship game, with the stakes this high, I want to know how he's going to look. This ain't a regular season game. You're coming back trying to get a rhythm, and this is the AFC title game for a chance to punch a ticket to the Super Bowl. Yeah, do or die, man.
This is do or die. I think everything, you just said is very correct. I mean,
so you said Ravens. Oh man. Bro, I'm like 50-50. I'm trying to choose. I can't bet against Mahomes.
I will say, I believe the Ravens. I want them to win, and I believe they can win, because I think their offensive and defensive combination is just too complete. But I'm not surprised if the Chiefs do win. But it's no secret that I'm pulling for the Ravens. Let's put it that way.
So you're going Ravens? Yo, man, I don't want to bet against my guy Mahomes. I'm going to go Mahomes and the Chiefs, bro.
All right.
Yeah. You guys have the better team, so if you guys lose this game, it ain't going to look good. It ain't going to look good. I'm a Chiefs guy.
Let me put that out there. I'm not a Ravens fan. My teams are the Saints and the Patriots, but neither of them are doing anything right now. We watch it from the couch, so I'm rooting for Lamar. That's my guy.
So now let's quickly get to the NFC. We got the Lions and we got the Niners. What are your preview, and what you got going on with NFC? Who you got, man? Let me hear what you got.
Tigers, Bears, oh my. I'm rooting for the Lions, man. I really want to see them. I mean, this is their first NFC championship since 1991, and they're hoping to advance to their first Super Bowl championship altogether as a franchise. And I think as a story, but just seeing them get better every single year under Dan Campbell, it's been awesome to watch. And I think as a team, I believe like this roster, even though I would say like they're better on offense than defense. Saying they're ranked 5th in scoring and they're ranked 23rd on defense. But their defense has made big plays when it's counted. In both the wild card game versus the Rams to get the stopping Puka Nakua from getting a catch at the end, and he was literally catching everything thrown his way, and then getting the interception on Baker Mayfield in the Buccaneers' final drive in the game last week versus Tampa Bay. I mean, their defense has made big plays when it's counted, but then their offense is so explosive. Jared Goff is throwing darts out there to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who the fact that he didn't make a Pro Bowl is absolutely, asinine. It makes no sense, but whatever, NFL. But, throwing to him, Sam Laporta, who had a Pro Bowl year. They got the great running backs with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, who was an amazing pickup for them in the first round. And I was a little questionable of pick 6 for a running back when you need, O-line help and defensive help. But, hey, they knew something that we didn't, clearly. And, Josh Reynolds as well as a supporting player. I mean, they just can hit you in a variety of ways. And I think that last week, San Francisco showed that they are very vulnerable if you know how to play them.
Yeah, so you have 2 top 5 offenses in the Niners and the Lions going at each other. And both these teams, when I looked at them, they're not really good at defending the pass, bro. Just like
they're
the
not.
Chiefs. Just like the Ravens,
they're better from the run.
Yeah, they're better at defending the run. So the Niners, they make their second consecutive NFC title game under the Brock Purdy era, and this is the second season. They lost to the Eagles last year, but now he's more experienced. He's vastly better. He improved dramatically this year, exponentially. The Lions, and the Lions were the Cinderella story of the NFL this year. Prior to this postseason, they have not made the playoffs since 2016, and then they now have won a playoff game since 1991, bro. We weren't even thoughts. It was that long ago.
Well, it's a lot of crazy history because it's they haven't won, they haven't been there since '91, but they made an NFC championship before the Dallas Cowboys. That's gotta count for something, right?
And this is their first divisional titles ever in franchise history. They had a 12-5 record, which clinched the NFC North this year, first time ever in franchise history. And we got to give Jared Goff his props. He had arguably his best year as a Detroit Lions if you consider the statistics, but also that it's conducive to winning. They won this year. He had 4,575 yards, second in the league, 4th in touchdowns with 30, pretty much career highs during his Detroit Lions years. I almost said Pistons like the NBA. And he had a QBR rating of 60.3, which was 11th in the league. You also have a multi-talented squad all over in many positions. You have Pro Bowlers Aiden Hutchinson, who was second in NFL with pressures with 94. He had second consecutive season of 9.5+ sacks. You have 2 great rookies who look like they're going to be great players for a long time. They stay healthy. Tight end Sam Laporta, and you had running back Jahmyr Gibbs, bro. They broke franchise records. Gibbs, he was the 3rd rookie in Lions history, produced 1,000 scrimmage yards and 10 touchdowns in the season. Barry Sanders in 1989 and Billy Smith in 1980 were the only other 2. And then Laporta, he's the only rookie in NFL history with 70 receptions, over 700 receiving yards, 9 touchdowns in a single season. And then you have Penei Sewell, their tackle offensive lineman. He was great. He's young and great. I remember when he was coming out of college, they said he was one of the best offensive lineman prospect in a generation. He's been living up to the hype.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Frank Ragnow, he's their center, another great offensive lineman for them. You had linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maybin. And then I know their offensive lineman Jonah Jackson, he's going to be out the game with a knee injury, but he's also a great player. And I can't forget Amon-Ra St. Brown. He led the team in targets this year with 164. He was tied first in 100-yard receiving games with 8, second in receptions with 112, and he had tied third most first downs this year with 70. And he ranks 3rd in NFL history in receptions through their first 3 seasons with 308. So you have a variety of guys, options. You also have David Montgomery, who's also another great running back in the backfield for the Lions. So you have Gibbs and Montgomery you could utilize in different formations. knock the Niners off their game. Nick Bosa, you know that he's going to be in the passing game. He's going to really try to get after it. So you're going to have to try to, utilize your runners, like get them going early, get Gibbs, get Montgomery going, because they've been really productive this season.
For sure. I mean, the Niners last week allowed 108 rushing yards to Aaron Jones. So the Lions are definitely going to be paying attention to, how the Packers were able to scheme, great run plays because they have a better offensive line than the Packers, And shout out to the Green Bay Packers because that was the NFC Championship that I think everyone wanted to see. They wanted to see the two division teams. You got a breakout quarterback in Jordan Love, and they just you can't that Niners defense is legit. But they showed last week that they are very vulnerable. Like you said, if they're able to get the run game going early, if they're able to spread the field with their targets that you just mentioned. So they're going to have their hands full. And Detroit will have their hands full, too, because the Niners, they have an embarrassment of riches and talent. And they're doing the happy dance of happy dances because Deebo Samuel was cleared to play.
Yep.
And we saw Brock Purdy without Deebo Samuel. It was a little rough. He's looking like Jimmy G out there. And I think, if he wants to get back to that Kurt Warner level, because I feel like that's a more appropriate comparison to him than Tom Brady. My Pats fan bias is coming out here, but he's not Tom Brady. Let's cut the noise. Let's slow it down. But I think Kurt Warner is a better comparison. He doesn't have the arm like Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner did have a hoist on him, but as far as that, underdog Cinderella story as a quarterback, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. It's a great story, and I think he has proven himself well. He has elevated the offense, but with the way Goff has been playing, it's reasonable to ask, can he match up? Can he also produce? Because Goff has been on fire so far. He's looked amazing. He's looked like the number one pick that he was supposed to be coming out of California.
Hey, he did lead them to a Super Bowl one time. So hey, but he's doing great.
Todd Gurley, and Aaron Donald, man, they were also very impactful. But he did play well. I'll give him that.
So we're running out of time. So let's quickly get into our NFC picks. Who you got coming out the NFC?
Ooh, this is tough. This one is tough. But I do think, obviously, like it. On paper, because of the record, it makes more sense for the Niners to win. But I'm picking the Lions.
You going Lions?
I really think momentum is on their side. I think they can achieve and do the impossible. And I think that their offensive weapons can create fits for the 49ers defense.
Okay.
I truly believe so. If the Packers could make the 49ers defense look off, if the Ravens during the regular season, and then you take the Lions, who have better offensive, playmakers than both of those teams, I'm rolling with the Lions, man. I want to see Detroit do the impossible.
Got you. So for me, oh, man, this is tough. Lions and Niners. I'm going to go Lions. I think they have a better offense. They're going to pressure Purdy. Zone coverage is going to be – they're going to have extra help against the pass. Deebo Samuels is back. You have Brandon Ayuk and all that. So,
Brandon Ayuk made that big catch. That puts him in the position to get that final touchdown to McCaffrey.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was my guy Dylan. I have the Chiefs. He got the Ravens and the AFC, and then we both have the Lions coming out the NFC. Dylan, quickly tell people where they can find your work before we have to get off. Quickly. Okay.
Well, DJ, thank you very much for having me on the show. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at Kwon, KWON_solo. I have 2 podcasts on there, Beige Brothers Sports. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube. And then Chilling with Dylan, Sports, Music, and Life Takes. That's also an Instagram page and on YouTube. You can follow me there. And once again, DJ, thank you for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure talking sports with you, and look forward to further, future collaborations moving forward.
Oh, yeah, my brother. Thank you for coming on the show, man.
Absolutely.
Talk to you later, bro.
Likewise, man.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dylan Bruton. That was our conference championship predictions for the NFL. It's been your host, DJ Hamilton, here at DJ Sports, here on WRCR 1700 AM radio, and I'll see y'all next time.
Peace.